Alright, I'm back inside my tent. It's now Sunday, day before Memorial Day, and obviously we're not on the lake again. But out here putting in cleats on the stringers. I got all the stringers capped yesterday. You can see how they came out. They're okay. Not 100% happy with it, but you know what? Sometimes you just got to be happy with what you got. So, yuck. We're putting 2-inch cleats on the outside of the stringers all the way down with PL glue and clamps, and we coated these in a resin so that way they soak in. They kind of give it a waterproof, and of course I'm going to coat it in Red Guard anyway. So should be good to go. What we're doing is going in with PL glue, clamping, drilling, pilot drilling, and then we'll screw it in with a stainless screw that's capped in 3M52 or coated in 3M5200. So that way it's nice and sealed, and it'll suck it up nice and tight to the stringer. We'll let it dry and call it a day. So that's where I am, and got my dad here with me today. He came out for a couple hours to lend a hand. It's always nice to have him with me. So we're gonna get going here, take a few pictures, and narrate as we go. Okay, we're a little over halfway done. I'd say I'm almost 3/4 done with all the cleats. What we're doing is we're running in the stainless steel screws into the side and then capping them off with 3M5200 so that way they're completely sealed. We've eliminated a couple of them. I was going to put one right there, but you know what? It's a little overkill. There's not a whole lot we need for that. There's going to be plenty of support. These just give a spot for us to screw into whenever we put the deck down. Now, I'll recommend. We were running a line of PL glue on the top and smoothing it out. That was a big mistake because it's now bubbling up, and I'll probably have to kind of give it a little sanding before we put the deck down. Just do what we did here, where if it pooks out a little bit whenever you squeeze it together, just wipe it off, but don't put another bead down because you're going to be putting a ton of PL glue on here whenever we put the deck down, so don't worry about it. So that's where we are so far. Finish up on these, let this dry up really good, and move on to the next step. I gotta tell you, that was a nice surprise for my dad to show up and help me out like that. We got those cleats done in probably an hour and a half. Went to lunch, came back, and now I'm cutting the deck. You can see that got the first section in there, and I had an epiphany. Oh man, I'm glad I stopped and kind of thought about things, because where I have my seams for the foam are actually in the middle in certain places. So in the middle of the gas tank, in the middle of the ski locker. I wasn't thinking when I was cutting the foam is that you want them to be on bulkheads, because that's where your seam gets their support from. So what I'm going to do is because my rear ones that I made actually stop on that seam up there, I'm going to make these, and then I'm going to come off of them with my foam. So the next deal, I'm actually going to tape the two sections I had here together, lay them in here, and then cut them at my next bulkhead. And then we'll just go forward from there, and then I'll probably have to recut the front nose piece to a different size. Not a big deal. We'll get it handled. It's not going to make that big of a problem. So what I'm doing is I'm just cutting sides here. We'll just go to the next section once I'm done with that. And this is what's cool, is that my sections here are almost exactly 4 foot width. So it kind of worked out. I'm glad I caught it. I'll be honest with you. That was a close one. Could have put it on here and gone, oh crap, and there's $250 worth of wood down the drain. So moving along. I'm gonna go cut the other piece, get it in here, and see if we can't get all these done. I tell you, it's pretty warm in here. I'm gonna pull this back now that we don't need the shade, and let some of this wind blow through here. Well, looky here, I got it about halfway done here up the boat. And this big center section, to reiterate what I'm doing is I'm having to go backwards, forward, and I'm having to splice together the pink stuff in different sections, so therefore it hits on my bulkheads, and that's exactly what I'm wanting to do. So it's hitting just perfectly. I'm real happy with how this is going. I'm gonna have to add 2 more cleats right there on either side to give me my support that I need. Yeah, I may not have to. We'll see here in a minute. But now I think what's going to be nice is my ski locker. I won't have to splice the ski locker in one section, which I thought I was going to have to do. I should be able to get my complete ski locker in this spot. Man, it feels good to stand on a deck again. Look at this, feet on deck. I'm real happy. This is my little spot where the fuel stuff will come out. Got that a little crooked, didn't I? Oh well. It's going to be behind the little, what do you call it, engine housing. Everything's coming out pretty good. This big section right here in the middle, I had to cut in 3 pieces because it didn't fit. Whenever you put it down, it would hit on the sides, and it just was too large. So what this does also gives me, if I decide to, and I haven't decided yet, is to make this a hatch where I can get the fuel tank out. I'll have a spot to screw it down. Now, with that being said, it also gives me a time that if this guy doesn't get my fuel tank done, or if something's wrong with the fuel tank, I can do everything else, screwing it down, and leave this hatch off so I can drop my fuel tank in. So, kind of came up with that on the fly because I couldn't get this piece of wood in here. It was just too large. So my next thing is we're going to splice the 2 pieces together here for our ski locker configuration. Just keep moving forward. And then I'm going to have to go up to the what do you call it, storage unit and get my seats and my ski locker cover. I never thought that was going to happen again, but what I'm planning on doing is making a pedestal for the seats to sit on. I want to make sure that if I do that, it doesn't sit me up too high. When I'm sitting in the seat, I don't want to be looking over the windshield. I feel stupid that way. I want to be able, when I'm sitting in the seat, I want to be looking through the windshield. When I flip the bolster up, it gives me that extra, 8 inches to sit up on. So I've seen a lot of guys do this, is they build a section up here that you actually screw to instead of screwing to this deck. We're actually going to build a little spot that's actually glassed onto the deck and also gel coated also, so that way we have a nice pedestal. And I'm also going to reinforce it from the underside. I haven't figured out how I'm going to do that yet either, but sure, just like anything else, I'll figure it out on the fly. So that's it for now. I'm going to go start cutting again. It's still about 1,000,000 degrees outside, but once you get used to it, you get used to it. Well, I'm done for the day. I am exhausted. It's about 7:30, and I can barely move. So what we've got done, we've got the rear sides, the 3 sections over the tank area, and we got this one big piece. This big piece whipped my butt. It was I had to make a lot of adjustments on the sides just to make it fit kind of snug. And I got some places that are a half or so of an inch away from the deck, but that's what they make peanut butter for. You don't want the wood touching, the hull. You don't want the wood touching the hull. So I measured, check this out, I measured our ski locker, and it's gonna work out just perfect on this one piece. I know it's probably crooked, but you can see it's real close to where it needs to be. And then I'm gonna add another one of those braces. I'm gonna add another one right there to compensate for that seam. So, but that's where my bulkheads go across. They go across right there. And then the base of my seats are probably going to be right about there, real close to a bulkhead. So we've got plenty of strength going across. And I thought about trying to do the rest of this tonight, but I'm just too tired. So I'm going to get up early in the morning. It'll be Memorial Day tomorrow. And obviously, like I said before, we won't be on the lake. So what I'll do is I'll get out here bright and early and get that all cut and get the whole deck ready to go. And then we'll put the stuff on the back side of it. We'll go ahead and waterproof it. But tonight, what I got to do is I got to take these 3 sections out right here. You see that lip coming up right there? This particular piece of plywood bowed in a weird way when it dried. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn them upside down, all 3 of these, and we'll park my truck over it overnight. So that way it'll flatten them out really good. It should help. But that way, when I put it back in here, we'll be all good to go. And then all these little cracks, if there's a little bit in there, we're going to smush peanut butter in them, make them nice and sealed up, nice and pretty, and then we'll screw it down with those stainless screws, and this ought to be good to go. And then once we screw everything down, we'll come back and we'll put peanut butter along the edges, create a nice fillet, and then we'll do 1708 all the way down, fiberglass it in, and then we'll put a layer of chopped strand across it, and then I'm going to go get some 6-ounce woven, which is the final step, right on top, which will make a nice smooth surface. And then we'll start building our boxes up in front. Those are gonna be easy. Just got to build a couple of supports, glass them with some 1.5 ounce chop strand, and then we'll peanut butter to the hull or to the floor, and then we'll be ready for some gel coat hopefully soon. But inside the ski locker, I got a gel coat this week before we put this deck down. I'm going to go pick that up on Tuesday. Hopefully we'll pick up the gas tank on Tuesday or Wednesday, and we'll get rolling along. And if all goes well, by the end of next weekend, I should be ready to put foam in here with the deck completely down and glued and tabbed, I hope. And then we can start putting foam in. So I'll see you tomorrow. See what we get done then.